what it is. How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be doing our rundown of our favorite TV commercials on this exciting episode of The First Ones to Die. We're going to talk about all the things. We're going to talk about fun soda commercials, celebrities that we've seen in commercials, all types of stuff, and of course possibly the Super Bowl. You never know, but there's only one way to find out, is to sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and listen on in to The First Ones to Die. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. We are glad to be here. We hope you're having a great day. I am your host, Jerome, along with my other favorite co-host, Alex, is with us as well.
I do enjoy being the favorite. I'm not going to
lie. And if you're wondering why I'm introducing, it's because Jonathan is not here. He had a prior engagement, so he could not be here this week, but he will be back next week. So don't worry, all the Jonathan fans out there. He will be back. We promise. He is still very much a part of the First Ones to Die podcast. But in the meantime, in between time, Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Been a chaotic couple days, but I had a really nice weekend. I didn't see anybody and I didn't do anything. So I really enjoyed that. Yeah, that was feeling really nice. And I caught up on some shows and things like that. But other than that, my week hasn't been too exciting. Oh, they're doing work on my balcony. So I had to move like everything to one side, which is great because it just unraveled a bunch of spiders from my potted plants. And that was exciting to see some giant ass spiders right by my window. I haven't been able to sleep well because of that. There's a big one. It's like, if anybody knows spiders, could y'all tell me what's like brown and like kind of yellow, this big?
He's just in the window like, I'm watching, Alex. You're going to slip up eventually.
He made a web
and then I'll
right
get
there.
Inside.
I was like, I kept looking over. I'm like, bugs have gotten through my screen because of this little asshole there. You can see his little head grabbed onto the screen and has let them in before. Because for a while, he kept knocking out the screen because he had a problem with the bee that was outside. He kept wanting to fight it.
Cheddar fighting bees is hilarious to me.
I love him, but he's not the smartest. We know this. We accept it. We love him. But it was, yeah. So my screen's kind of a little bit loose, and I'm like waiting for that spider to crawl in. But other than that, it's been a relaxing weekend.
That's like when I this week I had a little bit of a tummy ache one day, which I'm sure it was just like a little bit of just eating, like waiting too late to eat, and so my intestines are just being like, there's a lot of waste in here and you haven't just dispelled it yet, and you're adding more food on top of your stomach. It's not good. But I was like, hey, you know what, I think it's weird though, because I ate a little something and I have gone to the bathroom, but my stomach still hurts. And I was like, yeah, I'll do the millennial thing. I'll look it up on Google. Be like, hey, what causes your stomach to hurt? And of course, like the list was so long, and most of them were like, it could be an aneurysm, it could be a hernia, it could be an ulcer. You never know. I'm like, why are the immediates like, you could be nearly dying or need immediate surgery?
I hate looking up symptoms, online, because I always feel like it's good to predict something worse, but then at the same time, I'm like, well, do I have a family history of this? Is this a possibility? And then you just get into your head. But I'm also one of those people that refuse to go to the doctor until it's really bad.
Same. I am bad about going to the doctor. Like, I think that's just a people of color thing. We're just bad about going to the doctor.
Like I finally went to the doctor for my back. I'm actually getting an MRI this Thursday to see what's going on with it. Because I was like, she's like, all right, you've been here for your back before. I'm like, yeah. She's like, what's going on now? I'm like, I may have some numbing in my leg now, and I may not be able to kind of stand for long periods of time. There's been some pain. She's like, yeah, we need to get you an MRI. That doesn't sound great. And I'm like, yeah, I figured, but yeah, I wanted to see if it would go away on its own or something. She's like, no, we're going to have you go see a doctor. It's like that's
like I need to go to the dentist bad, and I used to be really good about it. I used to like do my regular checkups all the time, like, you know, bi-yearly. And like, and then if something was wrong, get fillings when I need to get fillings, all that stuff. And then when I lost my dental insurance, I stopped going. Now I have dental insurance again, but I just haven't been back yet. But I need to go to the dentist bad, and I definitely need to go to the doctor like as soon as possible, because not because anything's wrong, but just because I haven't had a physical since I was 18, and I am now currently 28. So that means for 10 years, I have no clue what is wrong
Jerome.
with me, if anything is wrong, what my health status is.
See, but for
None of
me,
that.
I swear to God, for me, every time I go to the doctor, I'm going for like one thing. And it's happened to me multiple times. I go to the doctor for this one little thing, and I'm like, yeah, it's just, this is the problem. And eventually it turns out, yeah, there's a much bigger issue we need to look at. And I'm like, you could have just told me no for this one thing. We didn't have to go into this other door. You didn't have to do this to me. And I'm terrible. I don't like the dentist. So I'm fine with needles if I can see them. If I can see a needle going into me, I'm cool with needles. They don't freak me out. I can't see anything that's happening in my mouth. I don't like it. I don't like seeing they're doing all this stuff in there. Can't see anything. I can't see them, and they're talking with their little codes about like this tooth and this tooth. When I'm like, you're touching the third tooth, I think. I don't know. Why is it now like L45 or something? Just tell me which tooth you're trying to work on. And it's never the tooth you think they're working on that you feel that you realize they're working on. It's really weird because you're like, oh, they're working on the back tooth, but really it's like these three teeth over. Although last time I went to the dentist, I have these cool pictures of she took out an old filling because there was a little decay underneath. This was one I got from like when I was like a kid. She showed me the picture she took, so it's the removal of it, the decay, the cleaning out. Your tooth inside looks soft, like you have a soft
Oh
center
yeah,
of the tooth,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
a really cool
Inside it's
photo.
like spongy.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I genuinely didn't know that. So when I saw that, I was like, it looks so soft. And she's like, yeah. And then she put it, and the tooth looks like it never had a filling or never had any damage. I was impressed by my dentist. If you like her number, she's very cool.
Oh yeah,
She did some great work.
I go to South Center Modern Dentistry, and they're dope. Shout out to them. They're good. There's a good dentistry. If you live in the Washington area and live out in Tequila, go to South Center Modern Dentistry. They'll
Or
take care
North
of you.
Seattle, Ballard Neighborhood Dentist. We're just giving out our dental recommendations there because everybody should worry about their teeth.
They should. Listen, there's some people out here walking around with some yuck mouth teeth going on. Need to be brushing.
And flossing.
And flossing.
Brushing doesn't always help.
Yes, that's
I
true.
I rarely floss. I don't really floss.
I floss like I would say I'm getting better as of late and doing like at least twice a week. Like in the week, not as in like I floss on Sunday then floss on Saturday. It's like no, like in between,
that's like
in the
one
middle
way to
there.
have like you started off like I'm flossing this the other way. I'm terrible at it. I do it once in a great moon, and I always hate that the dentist can tell that you don't floss because they're like, "Have you been flossing?"
Well, because they'll floss,
like,
and then if your gums bleed, they're like, "Yeah, you don't floss. All right, you don't lie to me."
A good indicator, yes, that you haven't been flossing your teeth. I just don't like being called out for it when they have their hands in my mouth, and I can't. I feel like I can't defend myself and be like, "Well, but I just."
Because for them, they're like, there's no excuse. You should be flossing.
And they're not wrong. I should make an appointment with that dentist. I need I haven't the cleaning under your gums thing. I hate that. It hurts so much, but afterwards I think I feel like my mouth feels like fantastic for days.
Oh yeah, when you get a good teeth cleaning, you feel like man, my teeth are good. The only thing I don't like is whenever I have to have like like when they have to put in fillings or something, and then your like mouth is numb. And there have been times where I've been like, no, screw all y'all, I'm still gonna drink. And then like all the liquid just pours right back out my face. And I'm like, God dang it.
All right, I think I got it. Mine is just like I bite my lip a lot, and I bite the inside of my lips. So when I'm numb, I end up like doing this all the time, and sometimes I don't know how hard I'm pressing because it's numb. Yeah. So I have to remind myself, don't bite your lip.
Yeah, I used to have a nasty
hurt myself.
I used to have a nasty habit like that where I used to bite the inside of my cheek when I was thinking really hard.
I'm doing
and
it right now, actually.
and then like the inside of my cheek used to be not enough to like break the skin, but enough for it to get raw enough that on accident that it would, swell up, and then on accident while I'm chewing or something, then I would bite hard enough and it would break the skin. And so I was like, I need to stop doing that because it keeps making scars on the inside of my mouth.
Do you know what I did recently? Like maybe a few months ago, I want to say. I bit my tongue, but I bit my tongue so hard, I actually took a chunk out of me.
Ooh.
Like it was a notable, and I showed my sister. She's like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "I bit down so hard, and it healed over, and I actually have now a scar on my tongue. That's how hard I bit my tongue.
Mm.
It was a clear chunk out of myself, and I was amazed by that because I bite my tongue a lot.
I've only cut
Uh,
my tongue one time, and it was when I was eating crab, and I used like in the South, you don't like you could use a crab cracker, but why would you do that when you got crab crackers all these right up here? So, so
I
I
was like,
put
"What's a crab cracker? Is it that like
it's the metal thing that has like ridges on it that you like. It basically looks like a nutcracker. It's just, but it's a
nutcracker? That's
little
what I was thinking.
harder, so you can crack like crab
Can you
shells.
just crack and crab with your teeth?
Oh yeah, you just stick it in there, ow, and then just crack it and just
I
crack
can
it.
see why you need to go to the dentist if you're doing stuff like that, man."
And one of blue crab specifically on their arms, like on their claws, they have little like spines on them. And one time when I was a kid, I like bit into it, but one of the spines stuck my tongue, and there was like a little chunk, literally a chunk where I could like feel it with my teeth if I rubbed my tongue against my teeth, where it would lift up like this.
Ah,
And I was just, and it hurt like hell. And because that's where there's so, you don't
because you took
realize
a
how
chunk
many,
of your tongue.
you don't realize how many nerve endings you have in your tongue until you actually cut it. And you get,
Oh yeah.
and it's so sensitive. And I'm just like, it really hurt. It took a while for it to heal
Well,
and
then you
go
also
back to
keep
normal.
touching it. But it's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's because like one day you just forget. You just completely
Yeah.
forget about it. You stop touching it, and then it heals like within hours. It almost feels like, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, I have a little bit on my tongue, don't I?" It's still there. It's like a. It was really weird when it was healing because it was like right next to some taste buds, so like it was smoothed over because I bit off those, couple taste buds. So
Mm-hmm.
like in the midst of all my taste buds, it's a smooth part of my tongue. I haven't looked at it in a while. I wonder if my taste buds grew back. Probably, right? They
Maybe. I'd imagine.
grow
It's like another part of the
back.
body.
Do taste buds grow back?
I don't know.
That's something to Google.
Yeah.
Google's dangerous. But yeah, that's my week. How's your week been, Jerome?
Me, I've been good. I haven't really been doing much, just been playing video games and working a lot. I've just got back from travel. I was in Charlotte. I won't say the specific reasons because keep some things private to myself. But me and Ari went and we had a great time. Charlotte was very warm for it to be October. But it was fine. It was great. And then the plane rides back and going were great. So it was all good. And yeah. So like overall pretty good week. Be on the lookout though for more, of course, with spooky month being over, because October's over, we're in November now. It's turkey month. As far as I'm concerned.
Gobble gobble.
I don't care if the Christmas stuff is out at the Walmarts and the Home Depots. There's still turkey month. Thanksgiving hasn't happened yet, so that's what we're celebrating. It's Thanksgiving.
How do you do Thanksgiving? I have people invite me out, but I'm like, I kind of like the new tradition of me being home like alone. I'll get pancakes for myself and just like chill out. It's super nice. It sounds bad, but I like celebrating with nobody now.
But which, speaking of which, you better believe, we did the Halloween special this year, 2-parter Halloween special. So if you haven't checked that out, check out those episodes. They are now both up on the audio streaming platforms and YouTube. But also, we of course are doing the Thanksgiving special this year. Don't think we aren't. So be on the lookout for that. Who's going to be on it? We don't know yet. And there's only one way for you to find out, is to tune in when that comes out. So yeah, the week of Thanksgiving. But I say all that to say, like, even though Spooky Month is over, Monster Camps parts 2 through whatever it's going to be are coming out in the next upcoming weeks. So also be on the lookout for that as well on the YouTube channel, of course. So if you're listening to this on the audio platform, appreciate your listen, but do go over to the YouTube to get some content that you can't get on the audio streaming platforms, because there's a lot of great video content going up over there. So, at the first ones to die. But that's been my week. I haven't really don't have much to report other than play Spider-Man. Play Spider-Man 2.
I started playing Baldur's Gate.
That's right.
So that
You
was
were telling
exciting.
me. Did you decide on what your like class is and stuff? Like, what are you playing?
I forget what I am because it's already been a. But I continue with the bard thing. I like being a bard.
Ah, gotcha. Are
Not
you?
really.
I was about to say, did you make Link? Did you make Link Berry
No, I
just as
didn't make Link.
Dragonborn
I
Bard?
thought about making Link, but I was like, no, I'm gonna try a different bard style. Although, from what it's kind of looking like, I just made a female version of Link.
Nice.
Which honestly, I should have just made Link. I might. I'm still like way at the beginning because I was an idiot and I reset the game somehow. Totally upset with myself on how I did that. I was just trying to keep my computer from burning, and I pushed a button that I shouldn't have. So it was my own undoing.
See, like the major tip I can give you for Baldur's Gate: quick save often, because it's it's very much a computer game. So they're like, if you want to make sure, if you don't want to have to constantly redo fights when you die or whatever, quick save often, because there is an autosave feature, but it only operates when like the big stuff happens. The little stuff, it just skips over entirely.
I've now learned after playing like 4 hours and then it being reset all the way to the I was like, I can get this far, but I really need to go to sleep because I actually have like this adult job where I have to like
it sucks.
Be present at work.
It pulls you in. It's just like, man, I can just do this for hours. Just play Baldur's Gate for hours.
It's a really cool game. I see why everybody likes it. But yeah, so honestly, I might just go restart it and make Blink. Because I genuinely accidentally restarted back to when where they had landed on the island.
Oh, landed on the beach, yeah.
Yeah, I had just started playing it. I got into about 3 hours and then it reset. So I'm not even that far along. Maybe I'll just
you're literally just past the tutorial.
Yeah. Well, because as the time I was doing the tutorial part, I was like doing 2 other things. So that's kind of where that 4-hour thing came in, where I'm like, I'm playing this and I kept focusing on that, but I'm like, I'm also doing something over here. And then I was like, okay, finally, I'm past the tutorial. I can focus on the game like an hour after playing it. And then I reset it. I was like, I'm so angry. I'm not even that big of a video game person, but I was angry. I felt it.
No, it's true. There have been moments where I've been like, I'm doing something, and then in the middle of the battle, I'm just like, and the battle looks dicey. I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna survive, fam. It's not looking good. And then I'm like, but we didn't quick save. That's hours worth of content. We've got to win. We've got to survive. Damn it.
You know what? I was seeing this Gen Z kid playing like those old games from the 90s, like the Simba Lion King game.
Mm-hmm.
And they died, and they're like, it's like, oh, game over, restart. And she's like, what does it mean, game over? What does that mean? What is that? Because she had passed somebody else. She's like, what does that mean, game over? She's like, did it just take me all the way? She's like, what?
Yeah.
It just took me all the way. And somebody's like, yeah, like, you guys have it good nowadays. They're like, they don't remember the times of like, either you kept playing and you won, or that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they mentioned like Aladdin game that I vaguely remember as a kid.
Yeah, I played the Aladdin Sega game. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know the struggle.
Remember it.
Kids today do not know the struggle of you only have 3 save slots. And you have to manually save. There is no auto save. So you either manually save or everything you just did is gone the second you turn off your console or your little handheld device or whatever. So you better hope you saved. And that's back when saving was a thing. I remember when autosave came out and I was like, oh my God, autosave? What do you mean the game saves itself?
I remember that first time that ever happened was with Sonic. Sonic was the first game I ever played with autosave because he would go past those little dings.
Oh, the checkpoints.
The game would say. The checkpoints, yeah. Where it also would maybe take you to another like level of the game or another realm. But I remember playing that first time ever was with Sonic and being so amazed that when I die, I was like, oh, I'm back there again? What? This is great. I'm just like right there. So I remember that. and being so excited for that.
Makes me think of games like Sly Cooper back in the day, where the original Sly
Mm.
Cooper, like the rest of them, you had health bars, but in the first Sly Cooper game, you could only take one hit unless you found a horseshoe, and then if you found a lucky horseshoe, you could take 2 hits. But and literally, so many things killed you, not just enemies, but also if you fell in water, you died. If you fell in a crevice, you died.
Oh
Like
my
it's just,
god, falling in the
there's
water.
just yeah, there's like so many different things that could kill you, and it's like you only get one life, so you better you better get good. Granted, the games were meant for kids, so they were easy enough that if you were pretty good at games, you would survive for pretty
But
long.
it's also kids. Kids aren't good at stuff. So
Yeah,
they
I
were
played
just
when I was
really
like
setting
10.
Yeah, they were really just setting up kids to like die and be like, "Well, now you learned about death cuz he ain't coming back. All the progress you made was over." So it's kind of like a screw you over to kids a little bit. But it was just so funny to see her reaction being like, "What do you mean it's what do you mean game over? Why what happened?" Like she was just in shock. She's like, and I was like, this is insane that I hadn't even thought about that. I'm like thinking about like, oh yeah, no, there's autosave, this is that, this is really cool. There's checkpoints. There's points where the game automatically just saves you because it's like you reach this one level, and other times where you can set an autosave to happen every like 5 to 10 minutes, something like that.
Mhm.
It feels so much easier and safer to play video games nowadays. Although now they might melt your device because they're saving so much of your
Cause
progress all
well,
the
it's more like
time.
because graphically they're just so powerful that it's just
That too.
like it's like, look, if you want these HD graphics, you better get you a nice HD powered like computer that can handle all this.
I
Otherwise, your
still
computer's gonna explode.
I still love when I love when they remaster games and you look at it and you swear it's the same game until you finally look at the old game next to it and you're like, "Oh wow. Now I see what they meant by the graphics being, done up. I get it now."
See, I'm liking what's happening as of late, where a lot of companies are remaking games. Where they'll just the best one I think so far. I mean, a lot of people probably point to Final Fantasy VII, especially because that game was like back in the PlayStation 1 polygon days, and now the remake is like HD 4K, like or damn near 4K graphics with like a totally different combat system and more story because they can do more. For me, my favorite is Mafia, because the Mafia games came out like around the early days of like like PC gaming being like really starting to get into like the 3D shooter days, or third person shooter days. And that game is super like polygons, heads look like I'll see if I can find some of it, but the heads look like cubes and stuff. And then it's like, and the remake is like night and day, um like looking. It's so crystal clear. The story is so much more rich. The voice actors they got don't sound like they're doing Italian bad accents. They're like actual actors. Like
Uh,
it is incredible. I love the Mafia remake, and I'm trying to look up some comparison stuff so that I can like show you like what the night and day look of what it went from to what it is now. Yeah, here we go. Hold on. I gotta share the screen or window or whatever. So hold on, yeah. Let me make this a little. There we go. So now I can see what you're looking at. So that's the new game. That's the old game.
they were more boxy.
Mm-hmm. But
Like the
also,
Tekken too.
here's the thing. In that cutscene, his lips move. His fabric has texture. Like his hair looks slick and everything. There's lighting on his face. In this is it. This is all you get. His lips don't move when he talks, nothing. He's just, this is it.
You know what I want them to redo? The original Tony Hawk skater game.
They have done a new Tony Hawk.
They've done a new one, but I want the original one redone. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
look at this. Look at you know what I'm saying? Same characters.
They look like Sims characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've highly advise if anybody likes the Mafia games, play Mafia Definitive Edition, Mafia 1. It's amazing. I love that remake so much. It's a really good game. But I think actually thinking about that, I'm pretty sure there is a Tony Hawk. I think Pro Skater was the one they decided to remake. I don't know if it was the same story as the original, but let's see. Yeah, they did. I thought that they did remake it. It doesn't look like amazing. It looked good, but it was like one of those things where it's like it just looks like another Tony Hawk game just with new graphics. Like,
Yeah,
because it wasn't the same story.
Yeah, I wanted the original one because the original one I remember was like so much fun, and it had like. Or am I thinking of a different skater game?
Because like that's like the remake, which it looks good. It looks really good. But I at no point I think I didn't play it because I was like I kind of over Pro Skater. It's kind of old now.
I'm trying to think now. I don't think it was even Tony Hawk's.
Are you thinking of Tony Hawk Underground? Because that was the one that was like the story, or like Bam Margera and all those like guys are like characters and stuff. Which they should remake those games. Like I remember Tony Hawk Underground.
Some of those skaters aren't.
No, some of them are controversial. I don't know if they or they're dead,
they're
or just too old.
Or some of them aren't really doing work right now. I think it might have been the Underground one.
That's old. Bam Margera, Tony Hawk Underground.
Wow.
Look at those graphics back in the day.
I think that's the one it is, because that one you could go around spray painting things, and that's the one.
Yeah, Underground was. You're thinking of Tony Hawk Underground, which were the fun ones.
Oh my god, yeah, because you could just really go around and just be destructive.
Yeah, it was that, and then after that game, it was Tony Hawk, American something, which was like supposed to be the successor to American Wasteland. That's what it was, which I loved playing American Wasteland. I know it wasn't like necessarily the best of the Tony Hawk games, but I really liked American Wasteland as well.
I don't think I ever played the Wasteland one.
It was kind of just, it was a lot of the same. It was just heightened graphics. I mean, things.
Skater games, can you really do, aren't they kind of all the same?
Well, Skate was the one that like tried to be like the high end skater game after Tony Hawk, because that was the one that like made the jump to like PS3 and Xbox 360. As of late, and I think they're supposed to be making another Skate game soon.
I just love how Tony Hawk's living his life now, where he's the guy who looks like Tony Hawk. He's like, hey, I love the stories he comes up with. He was like, go to the TSA and they're like, you have that same name as that old pro skater guy. I wonder what he's doing. Probably just hanging out with his family. Like I love those are the stories he always tells. Is like, somebody's always like, hey, you look like that guy. And he's like, I get that a lot. I'm going to go now. So Tony Hawk here is just living like his like chillest life right now.
Well, speaking of products that we've enjoyed over the years, while we were 46 minutes in, well, actually, we're less than that. No. In real time.
Hold on. I can say we're about half an hour in.
Yeah, half an hour in. We're really here to talk about our favorite TV commercials. There's been so many over the years. And in an effort to talk about some fun commercials that we've enjoyed over the years, we're going to take a sec, reminisce, and take a look back at some favorite commercials. Alex, do you want to start? Because I have some to start with, but I'll let you go first if you'd like.
The commercial I think a lot about for some reason is the Mentos commercials.
I can't think of them.
Really? Like the one where the guy sits down, gets paint on his pants, and then rolls around in it? And then he's like, I got Mentos. So he made a pinstripe suit that doesn't look great, but he did clever thinking. It was Mentos' commercials like that. I remember those so well. I'm not sure if I like them very much, but they stuck with me. They have always stuck with me.
See, that's how I feel about the. I don't know if you remember these. These were specifically for the Super Bowl. A lot of my examples will be for the Super Bowl, which is where the best commercials are, at least for America. Uh, is terrible
That's
Terry
fair.
Tate.
Terrible
Do you remember those commercials?
I don't think so.
So Terry Tate, who's an actor now, you've probably seen him in like movies and stuff. But he used to be a football player, kind of like Terry Crews, actually. In fact, him and Terry Crews have been in a lot of commercials, a lot of movies together, actually. Like just to bring it up so you know who I'm talking about. Here is Terry Tate, uh, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
know
been
if you.
in. I don't think I've seen him in movies and stuff.
Yeah, he's been in like a lot of his movies have been black movies mostly. Like he was in like Norbit and stuff like that. But they while he was a football player, he did a series of commercials for what was that company? I forget the company it was for.
Reebok.
It was for Reebok, yes. And the premise of the commercial was that Terry Tate has become an office linebacker. His whole role is to like bring office efficiency. So if you're out here breaking the rules, Terry Tate will tackle you with full speed. And then we're talking, this man is the way they filmed it, he's running at full speed, tackling people. And he would just and he'd do it just like an actual linebacker, like, woo! Yeah, that's right. The Terry's here all day, baby. All day. Terry Tate. Like just and so like all the office people are like the schlubbiest office people. They all are like they're not fit, all that stuff. So they're just terrified of this big ass man
I would
tackling them in the
love to see a
offices.
couple of people at my work just get tackled out of nowhere.
There's what
Be like,
there's
you need to
just
be more
so
efficient.
many. It's just it's just all about efficiency. Where there's one dude where he eats someone else's like cake in the office who has someone else's name on it clearly, and he just tackles them. He's like, you know that's Lisa's cake. No way you gonna be eating cake out here in the office, Jared. You know what time it is.
Just attack him. When I think of like, I love how the Super Bowl commercials often work in offices, or the ones I remember a lot to have been in offices, like the Dorito commercial, where the guy
Yeah,
has that snow globe. He's like, "Am I getting Doritos?"
legendary.
And he just throws it really hard. He's like, "It says yes."
I love the one where it's like the dude, he's like, dude, don't like, are you eating Frank's Doritos? Yeah, what about it? And then he looks up and then he gets, he's like, dude, you can't eat. And then he gets a Dorito Ninja Star in his neck and dies. The dude eating Doritos looks over and he's got a whole like Doritos like armor set with Doritos, man. It's like, ah!
Doritos has their thing on point though with commercials. You always enjoy a Doritos commercial.
It's true. Doritos was like the commercial leader for a while. Those were like, especially during the Super Bowl, but just in general, when Doritos made a commercial, it was like, yo, we like, if nothing else, we gotta watch the Super Bowl to see the Doritos commercial this year.
No, the ones before Doritos definitely would be Budweiser. Budweiser used to make the single best commercials. They had the
frog one,
the penguins.
Yeah.
They had that really heart-touching one. Do you remember the one with the little dog and the horse?
Dog, yeah, with the dog and the horse like and together.
I was like, what the hell? And at the end it's a Budweiser commercial. I'm like, why did this beer that's like piss water just make me feel so many emotions in like a 2-minute span? What was the purpose of this? I'm not gonna go buy your beer. I'm gonna go cry now.
Yeah, it's true. Budweiser was the leader. They kind of technically still are for a while. Like in the sense that they always have like a high-end commercial every year, but Doritos, like after a while, Doritos made the like fun ones. Like Budweiser, it became like after the dog one, they were like, oh, we get more clicks for the heartfelt stuff than the funny stuff. True. So let's make just heartfelt commercials instead. Or with like the Clydesdales romping. And then meanwhile, everyone else was like, we'll stick with the funny stuff. And so Doritos was like, we'll take over. Why not? And so they just had a few years where they were the dominant commercial.
Yeah. But because Budweiser, I think it really left off with the frogs and then the was up.
Yeah, the what's
Was
up?
they freaking dominated like the Super Bowl. They're like, yeah, when you think of Super Bowl commercials or Budweiser, you think of the was up commercial always. And for a long time, they held that crown, and Doritos started slipping in more and more.
Although the person who had the sexist commercial trophy, GoDaddy.com. Remember those commercials back in the day?
Oh my god.
Where they
And
were
nobody
always
actually
like,
knew what GoDaddy was either.
no, that's the thing. It's like they were doing the worst job selling the product, but they always had the commercials because all their commercials were insert sexy model woman nearly getting half naked. Then the commercial ends just before like a titty pops out or something, being like, you want to see more? Go on over to GoDaddy.com. And then you go to, I did it one year because I was a teenager. So I went to GoDaddy.com and it's like, yeah, no, there's no more to the commercial. But hey, while you're here, want to get a job? It's like,
Is it like GoDaddy like a server website or something?
it's a
like
website for job searching, for like to help you like search for jobs.
Is that all it is? I thought somebody told me it was like, oh yeah, it's like a server where you could build your own website. I was like,
Or no, I'm thinking of Monster. Monster.com was the
Monster like that. Yeah,
that was the job one. GoDaddy, yeah, was like build your own website.
Build your own website. And I was like, how are you gonna be like, oh yeah, where's your website built? On GoDaddy? So like WordPress or something else. It's like, yeah, my server account is GoDaddy.
They still exist.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking at it right now. Look at they look okay, but here's the thing: we remember what the old kids today will never know what GoDaddy used to look like. Look at GoDaddy now. This is what GoDaddy looks like. This looks like the most professional website I've ever seen in my life. It's so clean.
This looks like what is it called? There's a website like this.
It looks like Squarespace.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Except this is another version of Squarespace because it gives you a domain.
Logo used to look like it was like a creeper guy with sunglasses winking at you,
and his hair flowing in the wind, like all three strands of it.
Yeah. Oh my god, the 3 strands! I remember the 3 strands now.
For context, audience, hold on. We're gonna see if we can find this. This is. Can we find the old Have they purged it from the internet because they don't? No, it's still here. There's the old GoDaddy logo. So if you're looking on YouTube, you're looking at it right now, where it's just a dude with green shades and like 4 hairs sticking up, who clearly has like a 2000s haircut going on. If they could get away with it, he would have frosted tips.
Probably. They made him ginger. I've never thought about that.
And now it's this like heart logo that's like, no, we're GoDaddy. We're sophisticated. We never made those type of commercials.
Is it? It's like a butterfly heart thing. It's got the G in there.
It's got the G in there. It looks like it kind of does look like a butterfly heart mixture thing going on.
GoDaddy.
Man. That's just so fun. They've completely rebranded. They're like, we're trying to put that in the past. Okay, don't bring that up.
They had a very modern style website going on with people's plants and fashion.
But you know what? Funny thing is though, thinking of GoDaddy was the king, but right behind them, Hardee's or Carl Jr.'s, whichever one you want to go off of. They also were the kings of hot chick eating a burger. That's our business model. Our entire marketing plan hinges on that.
But I will say they actually used to say that in the commercials. They would sometimes mention be like, oh yeah, we know what the people want, and it was just the hot girl eating a burger.
That's true. That used to be their slogan, was like, we know what people want.
Yeah, so they were straight out admitting it, yeah, we know you're not Carl's Jr.'s okay. We know you're not coming specifically for the burgers. We gotta bring you in other ways.
Look, this is how we get our commercials, get views on this website that is something strange called YouTube or something. I don't know. This will get us clicks. Because that's the thing people don't understand.
The game in commercial.
Yeah.
Life.
Oh yeah, commercials changed when YouTube came out. Because it's now you could watch them regularly. I remember there was a time where when Super Bowl commercials came out, they were on TV for I want to say like at least like 4 or 5 months after they aired at the Super Bowl because they really wanted people to see them because they spent so much money on them. But
Yeah.
now, then with YouTube, it's like they aired that night and maybe they're on TV for a month. And after that, it's like, if you want to see them again, go to YouTube. They're right up there immediately.
You know what? You should look up viewers any kids commercial on Nickelodeon from like the 90s. Hi.
Cheddar.
So just cover that. Hi, can I help you? Anyway. Thank you, Cheddar. Yes, you have a lovely butt. I'm gonna just put it down. The 90s commercials for Nickelodeon, any toy, anything, was freaking insane. They were just yelling at you the whole commercial.
It's true.
And they were just like blasting and being like, "You want this toy?" and stuff like that. It was brightly colored commercial. I got they were going for the kids, but I can understand now why so many millennials suffer from migraines. We were being like flash bombed in those commercials. All right, like you just saw me shift. Sorry, you just saw me shift lighting, and I was like, too much now. Like,
yeah, they
you
were
could
definitely
probably get a seizure from those old commercials.
They were trying to like, seize you into like kids, look at this goop stuff. You want some of this, don't you? Well, guess what? It's coming to Toys R Us today. Bother your parents right now.
They're like, yeah. And they were constantly doing this. Just whatever product they had would just shoot out right in front of you. Didn't matter what it was. It was crazy. I've watched some of them recently because I'll have it like randomly pop up on my TikTok being like, do you remember for this from the 90s? And it does. It hits me in my core memories being like, oh shit, yeah, I do. I do remember that. And I didn't like it because usually that stuff somehow always, mostly I feel like with girls, would end up in my hair somehow. All that putty, all that gooey stuff, that kinetic sand. Somehow it always got in the ends of my hair. I did wear my hair very long. And that shit is so hard to wash out of your hair because it gets just stuck in there. All right, so now I hate all those toys.
You know what though? I would love to, because I think about like commercials, like thinking of like things that were maybe meant for kids is like, and I'm glad they've now made their resurgence, is the old Jim Henson bread commercials.
Oh,
with the like
those
puppets that are like black and white that are like people talk about now, where it's just like it's like, do you like bread? No. Wham! Well, how about now?
I put the Jim Henson coffee.
Yeah, the coffee. That's what it is. I put that up
because I was like dying. He's like, do you drink Jim Henson's coffee? No. Just shoots him. Straight out shoots him.
Yeah, just shoots this man. And it's just like, God damn it.
Which I had recently just posted it because like I was like, this commercial is great. I would drink their coffee. That puppet seems wired.
What is that? What is that coffee called?
I think it's Jim Henson's coffee.
Wilkins coffee.
Oh, Wilkinson's. They use Jim Henson's.
Yeah,
puppets.
just Wilkins coffee, and it's just like, you like what do you think about Wilkins coffee? Like, he's like, oh, well, I don't know. Blam! I'm like, he didn't even say he didn't like it. He just said he doesn't know.
And they're like, did you drink coffee today? Yes. Was it Wilkinson's? No. Just hits him with a pole.
Right. It's like, what is wrong with these people? These puppets are murderous.
There was a commercial I saw for pizza rolls, which, by the way, I didn't know how old pizza rolls were. They were back from like the 1950s.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that old. I thought I was thinking back in the 80s.
No. This is back from like the 1950s or 60s. And it's this old commercial where they're breaking the fourth wall, where it's a dinner party, and this woman's just being like, oh, to this guy, do you want some pizza rolls? And he's like, sure, and he takes the tray. And somebody breaks in and goes like, oh, I noticed this about your dishware. She's like, get out, this isn't your commercial. And then the guy behind the camera is like, did you ever think about this? And she's like, no, and she slaps the camera. And the guy holding the pizza roll has these like big eyes. And then the next one is like, press your shirt. She throws in like karate kicks the cameraman. It's all for a pizza rolls commercial, mind you. And she's just trying to talk about her pizza rolls, and everybody keeps trying to interrupt her with different commercials. But yeah, I didn't realize how old they were. Actually, let me see if I can find the exact date. But I like commercials from older days. Although
Me
I
too.
noticed even
I
with
do love the
simple pizza
classics.
rolls, they're violent for
Well,
no
that's because
reason.
back then it's like, back then they were like they weren't as what's it called, like sensitive. They're like, nah, what do you mean? We're gonna show people getting their ass whooped in our commercials if they don't buy our product.
First it was
They
the
gonna learn
puppets,
the
now it was the
hard way.
humans.
What the hell you mean you ain't buying a Kohler faucet? Whoop his ass! Just come over with like pipes, start beating on you.
How long are Pepsi and Cola still like in competitions and commercials?
You
Oh,
know,
wait, really quick.
I
Pizza rolls were invented in 1968.
interesting.
Oh, the
Okay.
history of pizza rolls can be traced back though to 1944.
Hmm. I mean, it's just. Oh, excuse me. It's just pizza and pepperoni, like or pizza. It's just cheese and pepperoni and
In a
like
puff
breaded
pastry.
in a puffed bread, like little thing.
It's
So
like baby calzones.
yeah. But I will say, Pepsi used to cheat though, because at least Coca-Cola had the creativity to be like, hey, we're gonna make our own icons. I mean, we're gonna cheat in the sense we're gonna use fictional ones like Santa.
Oh, yeah, they got Santa.
But every Christmas, polar bear commercial, Santa commercial, and they started like breaking their way into movie theaters. So I remember every movie theater always had like a Coca-Cola polar bear commercial in it. Um, but Pepsi used to cheat. There's like, we're gonna use real celebrities. Beyonce, get on in here. Kylie Jenner, get on in here. Just
Yeah, but
whoever
that
was
last one
popular.
did not help them at
No,
all.
Kylie Jenner definitely was like the one where it was like, Pepsi, you misread this situation. This
Yeah,
situation
they
bad.
like it was like I don't. You did not have one person of color, let alone a black person, on that team.
Clearly not. No, they didn't think it would go. But hey, they still are like the sponsor for the halftime show for the Super Bowl. So they still got that in their back pocket.
They still are remembered for that commercial though. Right now,
That's true.
That's the first thing people are thinking of right now.
Well, I'm thinking. I only reason because as of late, I'm working on a project for the Mopop, where they're going to be looking back at different pop culture things, and um, the one of the things we were looking at back at as Beyonce in the 2000s after her debut album came out, and I was looking at one of her old Pepsi commercials, and I forgot how popular that commercial was because it was a big thing. Beyonce was huge back then. I mean, she's huge now. In fact, she's even bigger now, as far as like her popularity and stuff. But like back then, she was like the new it girl, and so she was in every commercial. Every like movie was trying to get her, and like that's when she was like in Austin Powers and stuff. And like just seeing that commercial brought me back, where I was like, man, I remember when
Oh,
like Beyonce was everywhere.
I remember that. I remember when Pepsi did get the big like Britney Spears and everything like
Hmm.
that. I remember their Super Bowl commercial with Pink. I think it was Britney Spears, one other singer, and they did in like the Gladiator style. And they did the song "We Will Rock You." I really liked that commercial. That was one of my favorite commercials for a while. I thought it was really cool. Maybe Christina Aguilera, I think.
Probably because those were like the three blonde like mega singers at that time, as far as like popularity and stuff.
My mom recently just watched Austin Powers 2, and she said she was vomited with Fat Bastard. Like she was like so grossed out. I was like, really? She's like, yeah. She's like, I could. It was gross. She's like, I dry heaved because I love going back to like some old movies where you're like, this is great, but you kind of know they're gonna either be a little sexist or disgusting or this or that, and then you watch it, you're like, oh no, it's worse. It's actually much worse than I originally thought, but it's also
I,
a little bit funny.
you know what commercial like thinking of competitive commercials though, because like the sodas were definitely a thing, but at least they always kept it to themselves. They're like, we're we're competing with our competitors, but we're not going to call them out or anything like that. We're just going to keep making our commercials to make them better than their commercials. But then you get into the fast food world and they have no respect. Like they will call out somebody in a minute, especially Burger King. Burger King used to be the biggest one that used to be like, and your burgers is trash and y'all ice cream machine always broke. Y'all don't got nothing over there that's worth a damn. And also, we might be stealing y'all formulas. I don't know. I'm just saying. Because I remember that commercial where it's the Burger King breaking into McDonald's to steal stuff.
Yeah.
Their files, and then running back over to Burger King. and I'm like, this is a weird business model for you to kind of just say, yeah, no, we're stealing some of your ideas.
Or like, our food all tastes the same, clearly. Somebody
right?
has the same idea. I remember when Wendy's was bragging about its square patties, and I remember one commercial. I don't know if it was McDonald's or Burger King. Now I'm feeling like it's Burger King, because Burger Kings can be a little ratchet sometimes. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. They're that one. Where they're like, what the hell's a square patty? Why do you have a square patty in a round bun? They made a whole big deal about it because Wendy's is like, look at our cool patties. And everybody else is like, why is it square? What is your problem? It is a round burger. Why is everything so square? You don't see that much anymore, the fast food competition.
No, well, because now it's like I think they've reached a point where the commercials are at a weird place where they're not as creative as they used to be. Even Super Bowl commercials aren't as creative as they used to be anymore. Like, I remember, but maybe that's because a lot of stuff that we remember is also stuff that's kind of like you can't get away with now. Like, you can't make any of those GoDaddy commercials now. You could try, but I'm telling you now, you're going to do a lot of problems.
You really shouldn't, though.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't get away with that anymore. The old Geico caveman commercials. Like, I don't know if you could do those anymore. Not that they were offensive. They weren't offensive, but they were just like...
I didn't like how... Sorry, I just interrupted you there. But I didn't like how Geico had like 25 different mascots for their commercials.
Oh, yeah. Because they had the cavemen...
The Geico.
They had they already got the Geico Gecko always. They had somebody else who was like super popular. They had the pig.
They also had the camel that would go hump day.
Oh yeah, hump day.
Hump day. Which I hate that camel. Because it infected office places, because offices are so fucking boring.
Mike, you know what time it is? Hump day.
Even now to this day, at least somebody in an office somewhere goes, "It's hump day," and it's like, you are 40 years old, man. Act like it.
You are
knock that off.
It's like that Key and Peele sketch where it's like he gets stuck saying "D's nuts," the D's nuts joke all day. And they're like, dude, it wasn't funny before. It was a little funny. No, it was never funny.
It was funny when the original guy said it. You saying it 30 times to me when I'm trying to just do my work I'm going to smack you.
But it's like, I think about like the Chihuahua commercials for Taco Bell. You can't do that now. You can't do those anymore.
I feel like you could do it with Taco Bell. Mexicans still got a sense of humor. It's still funny. They're still fine.
Also, you know what they like? I mean, they could still do it, but now people are aware. They know now. Is like I had to show a couple friends this of like the black McDonald's commercial versus the white McDonald's commercial. Because it's true. The white McDonald's commercial is always like, hey, come on down to McDonald's and get you a Big Mac and also try some of our tasty chicken McNuggets. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Like, that's it. That's the McDonald's commercial. Meanwhile, the black McDonald's commercial, come on down, girl, and get you some of these chicken McNuggets. Like with an R&B jam and stuff. Like trying to sell, like someone's playing basketball or something.
You could also tell like how well somebody paid attention to a commercial or not too, because they never realized there were multiple different versions of commercial. Like there's always a Spanish version of a commercial, and it's like the Spanish family, and you're like, okay, it's like, why are you portraying them like this though? Why is it like, yeah, it's always like this little where it's like, it's not racist, but you're tiptoeing the line really close where I'm not happy with you, but the commercial's good enough where I'll leave it alone, but I'm not happy with you.
Exactly. They're like it's just they always highlight the sweet tea a little bit too hard in the black commercial because they're like black people love sweet tea. We know the deal.
And they always mention spice for some reason. It doesn't matter what commercial it is. They'll mention in a Spanish commercial. They'll mention, "Oh, it's a spicy deal." Why do you have to say it like that? What was the purpose? Who wrote this? Yeah, it's that tiptoe on the line where you're getting close. You haven't done anything. I'm not gonna say anything, but you're getting close there.
I just like I miss the fast food wars. I do wish they bring the mascots back because they haven't had a commercial with the Burger King in a long time,
I used to
or
love
with Ronald McDonald in a long time.
Ronald McDonald freaks me out. I think 2016 killed him. 2016 killed no, I used to love the Burger King commercials where they would find him in the weirdest places and he just go shh. And that was the freakiest thing ever. Where he's like, you go to the bathroom and he's like,
here's the thing, they don't even need to bring back Ronald McDonald. They have like a whole cast of mascots to use that they don't.
but look what they did to Grimace just this past year.
Oh, he had a birthday. That's it. Nothing happened to Grimace. He had the
Did
Grimace
you
shake.
see what people did on social media to Grimace's shake?
No.
Oh, you didn't? The whole premise of if you drink a Grimace shake, you die, and Grimace comes from the shadows to collect you. That was every TikTok. You had a Grimace shake, you drank it, and like the person's like pretending to die as the like purple goose coming from their mouths. And then you see Grimace in the distance or in the shadows ready to collect him because you drank his shake. They didn't play too much too.
I mean,
like,
I don't know. Use the Hamburglar. Why not? The Hamburglar, it's his time. Mary McCheese. Or the bird lady. I don't even know her name, but she's a chicken out here.
Oh, I forgot about that. Isn't that like a little... I feel like that's a little sister or somebody.
I don't know. I mean, the point is they have a whole group of people they could use to like if they don't want to use the clown. I mean, Ronald McDonald is the most famous one, so you would think that's who they use. But it's whatever. Although the fast food wars is pretty good. Love the cereal commercials though too. Although they've all evolved now. Like back in the day, it used to be very simple. Now they're all 3D animated and sometimes there's crossover and stuff like that. It's just, it used to be simple. And now it's anything but. But I enjoy a good cereal commercial every now and again, especially Cookie Crisp. Cookie Crisp and Cocoa Puffs. Those are my favorite cereal commercials. Lucky Charms is just a horror movie of this leprechaun constantly being hunted down by children for his cereal.
Yeah, I never liked the Lucky Charms commercial because I was like, he's literally running away from y'all and you're stealing his food.
He's just like, look, I'm just trying to eat. I'm just trying to have a part of a nutritious breakfast. They're like, damn all that. Run them charms, Lucky. Run that shit right now.
I didn't like the Trix commercials. I don't know. There's something about the bunny I wasn't a fan of. I didn't even like the cereal that much.
Trix, I love Trix cereal.
I don't like Trix. It's too fruity for a cereal. Although
I just didn't like the abuse. This rabbit is just, he just want, the abuse is enough is enough, okay? He just wants a goddamn bowl of cereal. And these kids are just like, silly rabbit, Tricks are for kids. He's like, man, look, I'm hungry. You see how skinny I am? This is just my body. I'm malnutrition, bitch. Give me the cereal.
So what we can gather actually from old cereal commercials is that children were horrible. They were stealing cereal. They were keeping cereal away from other animals. Cocoa Puffs just was like, this guy is crazy.
Okay, he had a mental health issues. Like nobody's helping this man.
That's another reason why we can't have commercials like that. We know too much now. Like he has mental health issues. He clearly has OCD.
That's why I love that Family Guy joke they did with Cocoa Puffs, where he tried to go to space and they're like, what do you think about these? Oh man, no, Cocoa Puffs. Nah, that's not me anymore, sir. I'm just here to fly. It's just like, I was like, good for him. You know, he got the help he needed. Good for the Cocoa Puffs bird.
I hate seeing skits like that and actually thinking, good for them. Like when they got Cookie Monster off the cookies, I was like, you know, that's good. He should eat healthier.
That's
like,
right.
That's when I'm like, my adult brain came in. I'm like, good for you, Cookie Monster. You fictional character. You're getting control of your diet. I wish I could too.
You're putting your life together, man. That's
Yeah,
good.
good for you. You make it feel like I'm not too old to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm resonating with a puppet. I don't like it, especially after being called one. It's it's still that man haunts me after called me a Muppet looking. Did I ever tell you about that? I think I did.
I think you did a long
Where a
time
guy said
ago.
he likes my Muppet looking face, and ever since then I have found
I feel
weird
like that's
similarities between Muppets and me, and I don't like it.
I feel like that's like a very like rude insult to call someone a Muppet. Like,
That's what I'm like. Was I catcalled? Was I just insulted? Was this her? I like no follow up or anything like that. I just put back in my headphone and went on my merry little way. No shout out after that or anything. Just left me to stew in that, and it's been months later, 8 months or something. I don't even know, and it will forever haunt me. That construction worker is like my origin story if I ever turn evil. It all started with him. It started with him. Fuck the fucked up childhood. It was him that started it all.
I like yeah, I want the cereal commercials to like the only one who's got a good cereal commercial is Tony the Tiger. And that's because Tony is like, no one's gonna mess with him because he's the size of an actual tiger. He is out here ready to like mess with. He's like, I wish y'all would say something to me. Have y'all like, a bowl of Frosted Flakes. Enjoy that.
When they used to do the team ups, Tony the Tiger was like the leader. He's like, it's me. He's like, he was always the center of the cereal commercials when they brought in like the tricks, all the Miller,
true,
whatever they're called cereals. He
him and Captain Crunch.
Isn't it that his little stripes say he's actually an admiral or a colonel?
I think so. Yeah, he's an admiral technically, but he's like, I'm still Captain Crunch. All right, the brand recognition is good. It's still
maybe an admiral, but he could be a captain of a ship. Of the Navy.
You know who used to get it the hardest though, especially in their commercials? The Keebler elves. All they want to do is make cookies. That's all they want to do, and nobody will leave them alone. They're out here trying to make delicious fudge covered cookies, and all these people are out here bothering them. They're like, God damn, can we just get some work done? Shit, I'm just out here trying to make these damn cookies for these kids. I'm trying to help parents out.
The reason I'm laughing is your face went so serious for a solid second. I wasn't prepared. I don't know. I thought you were going to switch the conversation to like something serious. You're just like the keyboard. You said it with such passion.
They need help out here. and Snap, Crackle, and Pop are too busy making their cereal empire to help them.
Everybody left Snap, Crackle, and Pop alone. Nobody wanted their cereal. I've never known anybody just to eat Rice Krispies as the cereal.
In their natural form. Yeah, they always turn them into Rice Krispie treats.
Or like something else. They make them into Chex Mix or something.
I will say this though, you know what? That's what makes them. Their business model is the best business model because Rice Krispies can be used for other things. Like Trix is just Trix. That's all it's going to be is cereal. Same thing with Captain Crunch. Same thing with like Frosted Flake. Really, all the cereals. Really, Rice Krispies though, they could be anything. You could turn them into anything. Rice Krispie treats. Use them for like other
mixes
like crafts
stuff.
Yeah, like in fact, my girlfriend, she does when she did her Halloween party, she makes like little Halloween themed snacks type things, and so she made little brains using Rice Krispies to make like Rice Krispie treats, and then like did put pink food coloring dye in them, and then put little like red, like jelly on it so that it looked like it was like bleeding and stuff. But they were good. They were little tasty little Rice Krispie treats that looked like little brains, and
those
because
nice and firm together.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, Rice Krispie treats, they were smart. They were like, we're going to make a cereal that has no flavor. You better put some damn sugar in that cereal if you want some flavor.
It has absolutely none. It just does the crack, snapple, and pop. That's right. Like other logo thing.
But
you know what really never gets talked about for cereal wise is like Fruity Pebbles. I don't think I've ever really paid attention to a commercial for Fruity Pebbles.
It's always just Fred and Barney. And it's always Barney taking the cereal from Fred.
Like, But you know who gets a lot of abuse is Barney, though. He does get a lot of abuse from Fred, though.
This is why he takes the cereal from Fred.
Which is totally justified.
He's like, Fred's like, it's all good. I've been cheating on Betty. I've been cheating on, what is it? What's her name? Wilma with Betty anyway. That's why he's mad. That's why he wants the cereal.
Betty's married to Barney, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like been a while since I've watched like any of those cartoons. Some of the cartoons you watch back from the past are like, same with the commercials. They're just wild, man. And it's not even due to sensitivity sometimes. It's like, it's like the same of when you watch cartoons from your childhood and you're like, you slipped far too much adult content into this. And I can see it now. I'm very aware of it now. I'm like, but you did far too much. But at the same time, it's like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of more like product commercials that I really enjoyed. I did love the old Apple commercials back when it was like the silhouette of the person dancing with their like iPod in their head, knowing full damn well that is not how that would go because those earbuds would easily fall out after a while when you're doing all of this and you're just
those things
like after a while they would just slip out
all the time.
I
never liked the Apple commercials ever. I thought they were stupid, basically. Yeah, no, stupid. I was like trying to think of like, no, they were stupid at me. Because they also, you could clearly tell they told people just dance to what feels right to you. Nobody was given proper instructions on how to dance or anything.
Or you're saying the dance moves were trash?
Yeah, who's like doing this as like a dance
Well,
move?
it's clear they wanted them to dance, but then they were like, but we also need to be able to see your silhouette to know that you're dancing. So you can't, do something like this, like do a shimmy or something. Just, you can't do that, or you can't bob your head because what does that look like? That looks like a person standing around with their head moving a little bit. Like, we need you to express, like, yeah.
Yeah, but like, dancing in the 2000s was like, you had a lot of movement, but like, you weren't starfished out though. No, like, I get it, you're supposed to see silhouette, cool, but like, that was a straight, like, my legs are far too wide and my arms are far too out, and I'm doing like this. Looked like a jumping jack in like a weird flowing motion going on.
I just remembered though, like we can't do this segment and not talk about the Old Spice commercials.
I was just thinking about that. The ones of look at your man, look at me.
Well, see, here's the thing. It's like that was an era where Old Spice swooped out of nowhere to take, like, Doritos started slipping and Old Spice was like, it's all good, we'll take over, baby. And so they came in out of nowhere and dominated the commercial space with those like, look at your man, now back to me, now back at your man, now back it to me. You're like, your man is not me, but he can smell like me using Old Spice body wash.
Which I love that they called him out for like that. They're like, he's not gonna look better than me, but at least he can smell like me. You can probably fantasize about me. It's fine.
Which that dude, like, I forget the actor's name because he's like a legit actor. He's in It Chapter 2. He's done like a bunch of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, like he's a successful actual actor, but just he's known most well for the Old Spice commercials, and
he did it so well.
Because he did it so well. He was so good at it. And you could see why they cast him. And he's so good at the Old Spice commercials. But when he did the Old Spice commercials, like, I remember watching this commercial being like, he's not even like the most attractive dude. Like, it's not like he has like 6-pack abs, but he's like actually like he's like like an average body, you know what I mean? Like, definitely works out, but he's not like, yeah, that's his name.
He was actually an American football wide receiver too. Oh,
I know he played football. That's kind of cool. Like but he's he's like fit guy. You know, definitely works out, but not too much. Where he has like 6-pack chiseled abs type thing. He's just a healthy, fit guy who's very attractive in the base. Like, just enough for you to be like, you know what? Yeah, my man isn't you, but he could smell like you. And that would be enough. But then it's like those commercials sold super well. But then Old Spice was like, we ain't done, bitch. We got a whole other black guy to sell our products too. And his name, Terry Crews.
But before we put out Terry Crews, he also did the ones not only like oh, look at your man, look at me. But he also did the ones where it's like, is this actually a deodorant commercial? Maybe it's not. And he like slice open a basketball and it's a watermelon. And
Right.
then he's like, oh, I guess this isn't a deodorant commercial. And then he sticks his hand in it. He's like, oh no, it is. And it's Old Spice like fruit smelling deodorant or spray or something. And I was like, what the? This is the most abstract for something that was like basically a manly. I think that's what Old Spice did right. Because a lot of deodorants will try to be like, oh, this is like cool wave. They try to
Especially
market it
men's
as really
deodorant.
manly. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
really manly. And Old Spice was like, no, we're just going to be random, throw a bunch of stuff at you, and go really abstract. Like we'll throw
What
some
was
man stuff in there, but
what was impressive about it too is that a lot of that stuff was in camera. Like it wasn't visual effects. Like especially that first one where he's like, "Look at your man, now back to me. I'm on a horse." Like all of that was actually in camera. Like the
yeah.
diamonds and all that stuff with the tickets and everything. A lot of that was like practical effects. And I'm like, that's really impressive because a lot of commercials would just be like, we're going to do all this CG. There's no way. And
Yeah.
it's like, but it looks good because it's practical. So it
And
really, it made the commercial really sell really well.
And they were able to use multiple sets without making the commercial look too crowded too. Because they
Mm-hmm.
would go from like pulling the shower to like your living room to like all of a sudden you're at the beach. So they were able to do multiple settings without making the commercial look really crowded or, you know, confusing you to what's going on. Because that was their whole deal anyway, was to
Mm-hmm.
change up the setting. Because it's like wherever you go, you could smell like Old Spice. But yeah, Terry Crews brought it in too, just yelling, throwing
Totally different energy, but also like I'm also gonna be shirtless because I'm just ripped from top to bottom.
But he just yell at you.
Yeah, he's just like, Old Spice commercial. It's just like, geez, it's like calm it down. But then you can take your pick. Do you want aggro Old Spice commercial or do you want cool guy Old Spice commercial?
Now they're at a new level where it's
just silly commercials now.
Yeah. Well, I like it because he's like, you're stealing. I forgot the actor's name, but he's like, are you stealing my face wash? And she's like, I thought it was mine. It's like, I'm using
Cole. Yeah, Dion Cole's the new Old Spice guy.
Yeah, I love the commercials. He's like, you need to stop stealing my products. It has lavender. I use it because it's soft on my face. It's like, good for you, man. Lavender is good for your skin. It does make everything softer. But I just like that whole... I like how Old Spice plays into the toxic masculinity by making fun of it. But at the
Gabrielle
same time,
Dennis, that's the woman in the commercials too. Gabrielle Dennis.
Oh, it's the same woman?
Yeah, it's always the same woman, Gabrielle Dennis. There's a couple other ladies who have come in here and there to be like the guest also, but Gabrielle Dennis is the main like wife of Dion Cole's Old Spice guy character.
Oh, I've seen the commercial with him and her, and then the commercial with him, and then it's a group of women she's talking to.
She's one, she's one of them, and then there's a bunch of other ladies. Yeah, I forgot that they are like the new duo of Old Spice commercials.
Because I guess Old Spice has accepted, unlike Gillette, that women are stealing the male products. Because I use men's razors because they're a little stronger, but you guys are using it on your face, which means it's going to be much more gentle on my legs when I use it. So like Old Spice was like, we get it. We see you women. We know what you're doing. And we're okay with it.
Well, that's because Old Spice was the ones that were like, we're going to be creative with our commercials. And even though we're selling a men's product, we're not going to sell it like men's products are normally sold, which is, yeah, that's right. Get you some of this Old Spice body wash for the most masculine man. Like, this is like, no, we're going to be cool. We're going to be creative, funny, like still have masculine things, like you said, but like play around. And then after they did it, you saw other people do it, like Axe body spray stop being like, yeah, we're super cool, Axe body spray, to like, we're also going to have silly commercials and like do some jokes with Axe body spray.
I feel like Axe body spray needs to portray in their commercials how much to actually accurately spray on yourself.
Well, I remember that was a thing.
They show the commercials doing this, and then everybody else around them has to suffer. All right, just like a spritz. That's all you need.
Well, do you remember the old thing where they were like double pits to chesty? Like that was the old Axe body spray like slogan, which was do your pits once across the chest. That's all you need.
No,
And that
I
was like
don't
their
think I
thing
don't remember that. I
for like
just
a
remember them.
year. That was
I
the Axe
remember them
body
doing the
spray
whole body
slogan.
spray thing. It was awful. Every high school.
It,
Every high school. I'm so happy leaving high school, mostly because of the smell. It didn't even have to do with like teenage boys directly. Teenage girls stink too. It's just
Mhm.
it's just your body changing. Nothing wrong with that. Don't be embarrassed. But at the
Yeah,
same
BO is
time,
a natural thing.
yeah,
Fellas, if you're a teenager listening to this podcast, BO is a natural thing for your teenage body to go through. Still wash. Okay, still go into the shower and wash. Like,
yeah.
not wash, wash. Take all to get you a washcloth, put like soap in it, gets it nice and sudsy, and wash everywhere. Clean up.
Maybe
But
a loofah, get that,
or that,
scrub that.
yeah,
Yeah,
loofah,
loofah's a
you know
little
what I mean?
rougher.
Whatever you need to really
And
like
it's
scrub.
the same with teen girls, again, BO is perfectly natural. But wash. Don't cover it under body spray and body spritz or shit like that. Just take an extra shower or like naturally
Yeah,
grow. There's
especially
no
if you play
reason to use
sports.
aerosol.
Don't be
Oh
afraid
yeah.
of. Look, yes, they're gonna see you naked. Okay, you just gonna have to accept that. Go in there and wash up. Because let me tell you something. You don't want to be stanking if you're trying to get a date to prom. Okay, that's one thing you do not want to be.
So I can't. My experience in the locker rooms were always perfectly fine. So I can't. I know it's very different for men. So I will let you have that. Yeah, but like you don't need the aerosol spray. The aerosol spray is where things start to go wrong, and then you have that interesting combination of natural body odor and then this chemical aerosol going on. And that's what high school smells like. And I'm so happy to be out of high school. I think
Mhm.
there's one guy in my one class actually did use Old Spice, which was such a nice like change of pace from the Axe body spray that I was like, I love your smell. He was like a friend of mine, and he would shower every day before school. I
Mhm.
was like, this is a good thing to smell first thing in the morning. And then later in the end of the day, everybody's like, everybody stinks. Because schools also aren't properly air conditioned or heated or shit like that. So poor kids gotta
Mhm.
like sweat it out.
Especially out in the South where it's hot.
Mm,
Everybody smells if they ain't really washing like they're supposed to, because that heat gets to you. You start sweating. It's not a good thing. Mm-mm.
2 months in like August, July and August in the Midwest, at least in the Chicago area. You don't want to be standing around anybody. Don't come near me. Adults do. They ain't wash them right either. Not just huge. But I will give it to the Old Spice. Their commercials have always just been super fun and playful. I
Oh
don't see
yeah.
too many Axe commercials anymore, honestly. I'll still see the Old
There's
Spice
not
ones.
that many now. They kind of just like there's a lot of brands that have kind of just stopped performing. Because remember Sobe back in the day
Yeah.
when they had the like
Vaguely.
lizards and they were on top of the world. They used to, for those who don't know, listening audience, Sobe used to be like where Red Bull is now. Sobe used to be like the energy drink / like sports drink
I forgot about Sobe,
of
actually.
choice outside of Gatorade. Like they were like very big in that field because vitamin water didn't exist yet, and other like brands that were similar
Powerade
to
and
it.
things like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
Powerade existed, but Powerade was always considered like the discount Gatorade.
Really?
Like they didn't.
Powerade existed? I don't. There you go.
They've been
That was
around a
something
long
else I didn't
time.
see.
They just were never like on top for some reason. I think Gatorade just always took over. Because I remember even when I was a kid, people would be like, "You want some Powerade? Hell no! You got Gatorade? No, we just got Powerade." Man, I guess.
I don't think I ever like noticed Powerade then.
But Sobe used to be, and they used to have some great commercials. My favorite one was when they did Thriller. They had the lizards do the Thriller dance, to like the do 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 do. That was like that commercial played for like months because it was so popular. And then they had like I forget, some celebrity. It was like a singer. She danced with them, and that was like the big seller of like Sobe water or whatever. And I was like, man, Sobe is killing it out here. And then they just disappeared off the face of the planet. I don't even know if they still make Sobe products anymore.
I don't remember Sobe that well. I think it's just been so long. I remember
Yeah.
Red Bull when Red Bull's first commercials came out. those are cute. Sometimes you'll still see them once in a while. Red Bull gives you wings.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Red Bull gives you wings
The
commercials
simple
were.
drawing commercials, which those were like
Yeah.
fun to see. I think they've gotten weird sometimes around here. They're like, no, you can just do whatever. But the old style drawing ones,
Like
hmm.
those are great. I remember though when they had the every year for the Super Bowl, their commercials were always some kind of stunt, and they
Well,
helped.
now they have the Red Bull games.
Yeah, well they're the ones that started. You remember that? You know that song like tonight we are young. Like I'm not singing it well, but like,
When
like
you said
that song.
tonight, I was like, you know how many songs start off like that, or how many songs like have that tonight? But when you're like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah, the second part, I was like, yeah, I know what song you're talking
yeah,
about.
that song became popular off of a Red Bull commercial. And I remember the Red Bull commercial because it was when that car did that like kick flip or spin in the air over a giant skateboard or something and then landed on the ramp on the other side. And I don't think it was Rob Deerdeck driving. It was some like skate or professional. If it was, it may have been Rob Deerdeck, but it was somebody like that, like in that vein, who did the trick.
Hmm, I
Um,
don't remember that.
and it was a big thing, and that was like Red Bull's like first like major, like people were like, oh shoot, Red Bull's out here making commercials, dope.
I just now every time the Red Bull games are up, they those are their commercials. Like Red Bull games, come see how you can get wings, and it's people building little contraptions to kind of glide, but really half the time they're just crashing into the water. So it's like a calmed down version of Jackass.
mm, yeah.
Still, Joe, for some weird reason, I went on like a little looking at those Jackass movies. I watched the newest one. The newest one was like too nostalgic. It was weird
I
watching
like
it.
the newest one because I feel like it's doable for me because they're so
You're
old.
old.
Yeah, where it's just like it's clearly they're like, look, we're gonna do some stunts, but we're not crazy enough to try and kill ourselves. We're not young men
Although
anymore.
one of them stuck a toy car up his ass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was a little like I'm like, dude, you're now in your 40s and 50s. Maybe sticking animate objects like that up your ass for a video should
I mean,
now
the
be making around
treadmill
the 20.
alone was like, you were trying to kill yourself.
Some of them were like, you're still going through stuff, huh? That you need this to do this, but whatever. I
This has
never
to be the last
realized.
one, though, right?
I can't imagine that any of them would survive doing another one. They're literally in, not because they're like in their 40s and 50s. No, it's because they've literally been doing they have one gone through so much drug abuse in their life and alcohol abuse.
Mm.
Two, they've all been professional skateboarders or bikers or things like that where they've used and abused their bodies a lot. And then on top of that, they've had the career of like jackass and stunts and doing things like that. I don't know how their bodies are still clipped to a movie. I know Steve-O barely has any teeth left.
Oh, they're probably. I'm sure they've. I'm sure they're kind of living the same life like wrestlers do, where they're like every day is pain, but I'm used
But
to it, so it doesn't look like it when I'm walking around. But I am in pain like
but
all the
that's what I'm
time.
saying. Like wrestlers had their career and that's what fucked them up. These people had their career, such as the skateboarding and professional things like that. Then they had their jackass career, where it was like physical abuse, and then they had the drug abuse and alcohol abuse that they did into their insides. So it's like you have three major factors that like maybe somebody will like partake in one. There's a drug abuse or something like that that you'll see like due to Robert Downey Jr.'s probably insides are all fucked up. But and then you'll have the professional skaters like pretty much like Tony Hawk. You can still
Hmm.
see sometimes he's walking like a little stiffly.
Yeah, your legs are probably hurt a
Yeah, he
lot.
looks he you can see him kind of move some. I've seen a couple of videos where he like moves very stiffly and I'm like, "Oh, your joints hurt." And then you have like the people who did like stunts and everything that were like for funsies. But you had those people doing all three. Steve-O barely has any of his original teeth.
Hmm.
And this man went and put bees on his dick. I'm like, "No, don't do this again, man. Rest. You have your podcast. You deserve it. Just relax.
Well,
Get a
it's
hot
just
tub."
because like in the newest movie, they have a couple like new generation people, And
Yeah.
in my head I was just like, it won't be the same though. And I never really got into the Jackass movies, but I do know that like if they replaced the current or they replaced the original cast with new people, it wouldn't be the same. Like those
Well,
guys like grew up together, were friends before they started making those movies. So there's a camaraderie and brotherhood there that like with the new people, it just feel like you're all here to get a paycheck basically because
yeah.
it's like a successful
Well,
brand.
yeah, they've had their like long history and they've been through so much and they've all seen each other go through rehab and like met each other's families. So yeah, there is that also emotional stake. But another thing is the original Jackass also went to Japan to avoid certain recording laws and restrictions so that they could do this abuse in public.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a lot of this now is filmed in America. And I don't see them going to another country now to violate laws or to loosen up so they can do more abuse of themselves. I don't see that happening anymore like it used to. The early
Yeah.
2000s of MTV are long gone.
That's true.
Nobody wants to do damage to their bodies like they used to. Which not a bad thing.
Which is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah. You shouldn't go face first into just you shouldn't be chased by a bull. That's one thing. That's like a big thing. I'm surprised nobody got into I think some people got internal bleeding. Johnny Knoxville talked about the one time the boxer punched him, gave him a concussion. And he thought to make a joke in that moment as they're like, we need to take you to the hospital. He's like, is blah 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 okay? And they're like, you might go blind in your eye. It's not a joking time. I saw him do an interview with that. They're like, oh yeah, we were really worried about you. And he's just like, I made a joke. And they're like, no, not right now, man. You might have gotten brain damage. But yeah, so although I used to love the commercials that would come on at MTV at night.
Yeah, they had some great
They were
ones.
insane too.
Mm-hmm.
The commercials for like shows.
I always love the commercials for Adult Swim in that way. Like they would just be some crazy commercials. But yeah, but that's do you have any more that you wanted to mention before we wrap up?
Let me see real quick. I have Old Spice going on my phone right now. Well, there's some still memorable ones. Like we should always mention like where's the beef?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's a classic. Like where's the beef?
Old lady.
Like that old speaking of old ladies also makes me think of that commercial with what's it called? The Red Hot, like Frank's Red Hot. Like it's just like Frank's Red Hot hot sauce. I put that shit on everything.
There's also the Betty White commercial, the Snickers, where she's playing.
Oh yeah, she's playing football.
Which I
like,
love.
what's going on? You're playing like Betty White out there. Why are you yelling at
Betty
me?
White. But yeah, like have a Snickers. Those Snickers commercials were so funny. I remember the one where it was not misogynistic enough when a construction worker, and he's like, you're doing great, blah blah blah, and then. Or like, I appreciate your value. And he's like, hey, eat a Snickers. You're not acting like yourself. Because the construction worker wasn't yelling profanities at the woman. See, that's the kind of commercial you can't make nowadays. It's funny, but also fuck you after being called a Muppet by a construction worker. So fuck that.
I also was thinking about I gotta mention, I've mentioned it a couple times on this podcast before, but I gotta mention the Gatorade commercials back in the day where you would they would be like, yeah, you drink the Gatorade, and then they'd be insert celebrity sweating, like colored sweat. And I remember as a kid being like, if I drink enough Gatorade, my sweat will be that color.
Did it never occur to you that life was not in black and white? Maybe if you had
no, in my mind, the black and white was just a highlight that it changed, that your sweat could change color. That's all it is.
That's all it was.
I real quick, I also looked up like top 10 like best TV commercials. Of course, number 2, Tootsie Pop commercials. How many licks does it take to get to a Tootsie Pop? Like 1 to 2, 3. Ouch. And I'm like, that damn owl just straight up jacked that kid of his Tootsie Pop.
Oh, we should talk about. There's one commercial that has lasted decades upon decades that comes out of the woodwork every December. It is the Hershey's Bells commercial. The little kisses doing the little bells.
See, I thought you were going to mention the M&M Santa commercial.
I think the kisses one was the before that one.
I think it is, yeah.
So that one has lasted longer. But yes, the Santa one. He does exist.
Actually, no.
They do exist.
No, I think the M&M's one's, because the programming is older. The Hershey's one's a little more like no, the resolution's a little better.
No, the Hershey's one is definitely, the resolution's worse. Because they don't upgrade that resolution. Hold on.
Yeah, because they don't need to. They're like, it's a classic commercial. We're just going to play the same commercial every year.
Okay, that one was created in 1989. It is 29 years old.
Damn.
And then the M&M's commercial, M&M's, 1996.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it now. They do exist, 1996. Yeah.
I was right. Because I was like, they will make the M&M's ones look a little nicer each year. They'll upgrade a little bit, but they have never.
No, they still play the old one. I still catch the old one from the old Santa, the M&M's commercial. Yeah,
not like a new version, but like like a cleaned up version.
Whereas, I think they remaster it, but they don't like change it. Yeah, like it's the same commercial.
Yeah, it's the exact same commercial. They'll just make it like look nicer. They'll remaster it. Yeah, that's the correct word. But the Hershey's Kisses one, they don't remaster that one, or they haven't at least. Same. In a very long time. It looks exactly the same. It's still that low resolution of the 90s.
I'm seeing this one. It's the Coca-Cola one, the Meet Joe Green commercial. It's like, hey, Mean Joe, want a Coke? Hey, kid, catch. Wow, thanks, Mean Joe.
I mean, talking about Smelly, though. Smelly, though.
Hey, listen, that jersey is still worth tons of money, though. Jersey from Joe Green, Mean Joe Green.
Mean Joe Green.
Also on this list here is the Always Like a Girl commercial. You remember that commercial?
Not really, no.
Here, this might be the only one we might actually.
Is it something I'm going to YouTube. Make a face at? I feel like.
No, it's not bad. It's just although I don't know if it like is it sharing audio. I don't know if it'll share audio.
That's up to you.
Oh yeah, also share tab audio. Okay, cool. So YouTube will get the audio. We'll find a way to download it so that the thing has audio version.
Oh, now I remember this commercial.
Yeah, I remember this commercial. I think it's in the Super Bowl, I think. This is insulting. I feel like not all these people had. I feel like they're trying to guide this commercial because I feel like a lot of them would definitely wouldn't think the same exact thing.
I'm pretty sure that guy was a little gay there.
See, but I feel like how long is this commercial? Okay, we're not gonna watch the whole 3 minutes, but
girls' confidence plummets during puberty. I mean, if it helps, I barely had any confidence even before puberty. So.
I mean, I think the commercial, because this came out in 2015, so this is before, #MeToo and all that other stuff. But it's like, but at the same time, like, and a lot of like representation and, having more women in media, things like that. But I do think, I don't know, looking back, I wonder if that commercial was honest or not, because I'm just like, or if they cut it down to select moments. Because I'm wondering how many people they interviewed before they got like the people who were doing the like Run Like a Girl thing of like doing it in the insulting way and then like ask little girls to do the same actions. I don't know.
I think it would have made more sense had it not been two teenage girls. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
like at least like
yeah.
because of course the teenage girls being teenage girls are fucking they're terrifying. All right? Teenage and middle school girls are terrifying. Middle school children are terrifying because they know how to hit you in the center of every insecurity you've ever had. They know how to get you. They're mean.
Mhm.
So I don't think I
yeah.
could see them being like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna run like a girl." It's like either somebody told them to do that, or they were like, they they were mocking somebody they knew
Right. Like I don't think
themselves.
that's I think the part of it that makes it seem like less believable now, in this current climate is I'm like the full grown man and like the little boy, sure. They
Yeah,
probably would think that. Like teenage girls or grown women, I feel like they would be conscious enough to not
it's
like think that that's what they meant when they said run like a
it's
girl.
especially the run. It's the run like the girl part. I can understand like maybe like you when somebody says, "Oh, like they're like a girl," and they're saying like, "Oh, this is what somebody means." But the running thing, it's the running thing that looks fucking ridiculous and doesn't look like
It looks
anybody
so
I've ever.
exaggerated,
Yeah,
yeah.
like what? Unless you're being chased by a bee or a bug or something, who's doing? No girl is pretending or even acting. I've never seen anybody mimic a girl run like with doing that with her hair.
Yeah,
Who are you
pumping her hair
particularly?
up and throwing it in the air and stuff. Unless you're that's more like frolicking. You're frolicking through a field of daisies or something. Not running.
I do enjoy a
Uh
good frolic. I don't do it often. Frolicking is not really my thing, but when I do it, it's a good frolic. I don't usually like flip my hair. Although when I have a high ponytail, it does that pendulum swing thing
Mhm.
and just will like swing. Or also, if I wear a high ponytail and I trim really fast, I'll whack somebody. That's always just fun to do, though. It's more of a personal thing I do. But yeah, that commercial, it's the running part that just looks like this was a good setup you did. Good job.
I mean I respect the message, and especially during that time, he even said it in this little blurb here the campaign sent a strong message and made viewers question their thoughts and attitudes. Also dared to air the commercial during a predominantly male driven event, which is true because I was right. This was during the Super Bowl because I was like I remember this commercial because it was during the Super Bowl and like it was something different. I don't think anybody had ever seen anything like that during a Super
It's
Bowl commercial.
been so long. Yeah, because you had Carl's Jr. commercials and GoDaddy commercials.
Right.
And then you had like the Doritos commercials where they were just doing whatever they. I feel like Super Bowl commercials either have a really beautiful message going on, like that, where they're like, hey, girls, you should have confidence and it's not an insult to people. Do it like a girl. Or
Mhm.
they let their writers go feral. They're just like, all right, free range, guys. Do what you think is best. So, like, Super Bowl commercials are really like two sides of coin. You're either going to have this beautiful one, like Budweiser and the dog, or that I think it was that gum commercial where the girl got a little drawing on every piece of gum wrapper
Oh
throughout the
yeah,
relationship,
yeah.
and it was
Throughout the
like really
relationship,
sweet,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's really sweet. Then again, you get Budweiser's frogs, or you get the Doritos commercials, or you get the Reebok commercials with the tackling football player, or you just get these weird ass commercials that are like you let them go wild. You gave the writers Red Bull and was like, all right, you have 30 minutes, come up with a commercial, and just
Yeah,
let them
well,
go off on their own.
that makes me. I was looking for it. There's the Mountain Dew puppy monkey baby commercial. When you said that, of like,
Oh
that clearly was like someone was doing a lot of coke in a room and wrote that because it made no sense, and I do not understand why that became the commercial they stuck with for Mountain
See,
Dew.
for Mountain Dew, I think it was weed though, because
Maybe,
you,
maybe someone was just really
because
high,
I feel
smoked a
like a
lot of
lot of
weed.
the ones that are like Reeboks commercials was definitely Coke. Let's just have him tackle a bunch of people. That's definitely a Coke vibe. But two people chill on the couch and there's a puppy monkey baby just dancing around. That's like weed. That's a hallucinogenic. That person was on LSD.
For those who don't know, the audio listening audience, like the puppy monkey baby commercial was that there's these guys who are chilling drinking Mountain Dew in their house, and then a amalgamation of a baby, a monkey, and a specifically a pug puppy comes in walking on their baby legs with their monkey arms and torso and using their puppy mouth to lick this dude. And the whole time they're saying puppy monkey baby, puppy monkey baby. Like, and I'm just like,
well, they like ran
what
out
the
of,
hell is this?
but the weird thing is it like lives in a little door, and he's like, oh, we're out of Mountain Dew. Oh, just ask puppy monkey baby. And puppy monkey baby comes out with like I think it's like an ice bucket of Mountain Dew
Yeah, it does.
for
Like
them.
a
And it's
like an ice
here you go.
bucket with Mountain Dew in it.
So it was like a little butler too going on. Yeah, somebody was like doing weed or LSD or something. That wasn't coke. I'll give you the tackling one was definitely somebody was on coke there. Somebody got really excited, just like, let's throw a snow globe at a vending machine. Or they saw instances in their offices that were like, we could do that. We could probably do that. Make it funny.
The last one I'll mention because it's a sweet one and it's one I forgot about, but also during Super Bowl is the Volkswagen the Force commercial. It's that commercial where the kid is dressed as Darth Vader and he keeps going around pretending to use the Force on things. And this was Volkswagen's way of these are my favorite commercials that are funny, interesting, but also sell the product in a really fun way. Because this was Volkswagen selling the idea that their new Volkswagens that were coming out were push button start. So you didn't have to be in the car to start the car. You could just use your key fob. And so the commercials, the kid goes out and uses the Force on the car and the dad's watching the window. So he turns on the car and the kid's like, what? I just used it. And it's
I think
so
it's weird that they allowed the little Darth
adorable.
Vader to have the power.
I thought that was it's a cute commercial. It's very sweet. And I remember just being like, also, it sells the product really well of like, hey, you can start your car from inside the house. You don't need to be in the vehicle. And I'm just like,
that
that's
always
cool.
Being extra when you got your car, because we had those in our cars, or my mom did. I wish I could get that in my car, but now it's expensive to install.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for wintertime. Yeah, that was a cute commercial. Kids, I'm not a big fan of kids. Not a big fan of kids, but like kids in commercials, I'm never too much of a fan of either. Because when I always think of child labor laws, but it's also commercial. Those aren't too bad. But then also I know they're trying to now sell it as a family product when only a moment ago they were trying to sell it as like this really cool, like, oh, the gerbils or hamsters. Their Kia commercial.
That's Kia. Yeah, the Kia commercials Kia. With the like
where they're like, you can go out partying and stuff like that. And then it's now evolved into like, oh, look at this 6 family unit car. And it's like, is this where I am in stage of life that I progress with this commercial now?
Well, that's a different selling? Kia product. These are the Kia. This is when we're trying to sell the Kia sedans, which are for families, but the Kia Soul is for the young people who want to get down and party. Like, in fact, like, because I remember that commercial not only because of the gerbils, which they became like a staple of the Kia Soul.
Are they gerbils or hamsters?
They're hamsters. That's right. And like the hamsters were like an iconic thing, but also because, do you remember the song they chose that year when that first commercial came out?
I'm trying to remember it. I don't. I do know it was very popular.
It was Party Rock Anthem by LMFAO, which was everywhere at that time. Every radio station, like all the commercials they performed that year, I think, as part of the Super Bowl. They were ridiculously popular at that time.
Yeah. I wonder if they're still together.
I don't think they are. I think they've broken up now. I think
they do their own music. They're
doing
now.
Their own music. Yeah, each of them are doing their own solo things now. But I think Red Foo is still a DJ. I think they're doing the same thing like Lil Jon did, where like after they made their money with their music and their records, they're like, and now I'm just going to DJ for the rest of my life because I can make tons of money just going to
and they
different
still get
venues and DJ.
That songs are still played throughout weddings everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, but it's the fact that those commercials exist with the hamsters that I'm just like,
Well, I remember how
I
it
hear you.
ended, where they like it was the regular hamsters, and then the ending was they lost weight, and they had like slick suits, and they were all
Oh my god, I
thin,
remember that now.
and that
Because that was actually a
the
different
Lady
commercial.
Gaga
They had
was the music
series
for
of
that one.
commercials, yeah, the series
Mm-hmm.
commercials, or they had the jumpsuits first, and they like got into it, and they started partying, and then they got into a lot of jumpsuits. I think they walked the red carpet too in one of their
Yeah.
commercials.
Uh
I
they
feel like that's the success for a good commercial. You really either have to play on a person's like nostalgic or emotion, or you have to just really go out there.
be
You have to
creative.
let the writers
Yeah.
be feral. Just let them do what they want to do and leave them unchecked for like an hour. They'll probably come up with some pretty good stuff. I mean, I think it worked for Old Spice.
Definitely. Well, I mean, the more creative the commercial is, the better for some things. Like certain things, or it's either creative or heartfelt. These are the two ways to make an iconic, lasting commercial, and like or make one that just sells the product really well. Because I remember like the Samsung smartwatch commercial, where that was when smartwatches had just came out, which technically Apple had been before them, but Apple's big selling point of the smartwatch was the future is now smartwatch. And that was it. And then because it was Apple, they don't really have to do much to sell any of their products because people will just buy it just because it's Apple. But Samsung, their commercial was they did I don't know if they recreated them or they bought toys or whatever, but they recreated different versions of like communicator watches that existed in different TV shows and cartoons over the years. And theirs was like, now you don't have to imagine it. It's real. Samsung smartwatch. And I remember that commercial way more than the Apple Watch because I'm like, it played on my nostalgia of like, I remember watching the Jetsons. I remember the Star Trek communicator watch. Like it
Yeah.
pulled on your heartstrings of like, remember these TV shows you loved? Well, guess what? Now you can be like them. You can now have a watch on your wrist that you talk into or text or, just check the time if that's all you want to do. You can do whatever. So it's like, if you want to make a successful commercial, that's what you do, is you make it like super creative and crazy, like Doritos or Old Spice or Mountain Dew to a degree, or you make it heartfelt like the Budweiser commercials, or you play on just some like the nostalgia stuff and sell your product. But at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing. Sell your product, because I'm going to be honest, those GoDaddy commercials, maybe we might remember them, but you'd be hard pressed to find many people who know what GoDaddy is.
Even now, especially with the way daddy is used, I think those commercials honestly would have been better performed now because people use that word far too much for my comfortability. I make jokes on it. I admit it. I openly make jokes. But some people, you go on TikTok, they are far too committed with that. And it's like, you need Jesus. I don't even believe in the man, but like, you need him. All right? I'm not even about that.
Because I'm thinking like even Carl's Jr., they're like, yes, hot chicks, but still burgers. It's like, we're still selling our products.
Yeah, they were like, look at this hot chick, but also women. They zoomed in on the burger. They zoomed in on like the ingredients and stuff. So it's like, we're gonna give you the hot chick, but also like, at least look at the burger. Focus on the burger.
Right. Like, we're still selling you a product. And I think that's the biggest thing. Those are like my commercials that for me, I'm like, these are the best commercials. If it sells me the product or makes the product like memorable in my mind where I'll never forget it, and you entertained me, good commercial. So yeah.
I just love that we looked at GoDaddy and the way it is now. Because I actually think I remember going on GoDaddy and it being like black and yellow everywhere. That was like their color scheme, black and yellow.
Yeah.
And now it's all white and crisp and clean.
So they're trying to clean up their image. It's very much like GoDaddy used to be a teenager and now they're adults and they're like, no, we're trying not to think about those days. It's like when you meet that person, like you used to be a partying person back in high school.
You were like now a frat boy in college. It was more like a frat boy in college.
And they're like, dude, you remember that time back
be like, have you met my fiance?
Have you met my wife? My very successful, mature wife? Like,
we met at my accounting firm. Like,
don't you mess this up for me. She don't need to know about that. She don't need to know about the tank days, okay?
It's like she's with me now. I don't have to go find another. I don't have to do whatever I was doing back then. I'm done with my hoe phase. Because even men can have them, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. But so those are a lot. Well, a lot of our a lot of commercials. We mentioned a lot of more commercials than I thought we would. But
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't think that I would have. I was like, oh, I don't really have anything prepared when we're talking about this. But then all of a sudden, like you mentioned one commercial, and all of a sudden these flood of commercials kept going back. Because sometimes, I mean, they're not so common anymore, and you do have the Super Bowl commercials, and those are great and awesome. But like, there is a moment where you use commercials as a way to take breaks and run off to the bathroom. You were like, I know how many commercials are going. And then you got used to seeing certain commercials and you're like, cool, I can play this commercial in my head, know how long I can be gone and come back. That's how influential commercials were to our lives. They were you could time things on them and it was great. It's only when they shortened commercials because they, the episode was longer that you were really screwed over and you're like
now
betrayed.
Commercials are short because they put them on social media and they're trying to get commercials that are like 10 seconds long.
Yeah, 15 to 30 seconds long are usually the time frames you see. Mm-hmm. And then they're skippable.
Yeah, which although I will say, like, audience, if you're saying you guys didn't mention any of the jingle commercials, like JG Wentworth 877 cashed out, like all those, it's because watch our what's it called, the Blackening review, in which we jammed out to all the jingle commercials that, especially the ones that are important to the Black community. Well, really all the communities of color, because all of us at one point in our lives have had basic TV and seen those commercials.
Nothing wrong with public access TV. PBS. That's right. PBS kept us all going for a really long time. PBS was a childhood.
So if you want to hear us talk about those commercials, go to that review. But, comment below. Tell us about some of your favorite commercials, or if we mentioned a few that you're like, oh man, I remember that commercial. That was a great one. Comment below on the YouTube channel. Tell us what you think, or hit us up on any of our social medias at the First Ones to Die podcast to find out, to let us know what you think. But before we leave, socials. Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me at Alex and Nobody on Instagram and on TikTok, as well as the podcast TikTok, The First Ones to Die, where I post little clips of last week's episode, this week's episode, things we may be doing soon, and just random things when I get bored, because I get bored. You can also find us on any of the podcast platforms, such as Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Go ahead and head over there, listen to us, give us 5 stars and a review. We would really appreciate that. Jerome, where are we finding you?
You can find me at Not Jerome Rhett on Instagram. And also, once again, go on over to the YouTube channel to catch all types of extra content that you cannot get on the First Ones to Die streaming platforms, the audio-only platforms. So stuff like, gaming videos, vlogs, video versions of all of the podcasts, book reviews, mini reviews for other TV shows and movies we just don't have time to do a full podcast review for. And also follow us on all our social medias at the First Ones to Die. So that's everything: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, Threads even. We're everywhere. So if you want to get in touch with us, go on over to do that and hit us up. Also, if you want to send us an email at thefirstones2die@gmail.com. And if you want to follow Jonathan, who is not here, but is our other co-host, you can follow him at Jonathan Keys on everywhere. I forgot the thing he said right now. I don't know why. Jonathan Keys at Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please, I think is what he says.
Yes.
There we go. So Jonathan there. I hope you feel vindicated. But you can find Jonathan there as well. Tune in next week for something. We don't know what it'll be, but you will when you see the title, of course. But then also, you're going to get some more podcast goodness next week. So please tune in next week. But also, have a great day, great night, great afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. And we will see you next time.
Bye.